Can you say friends, talking,
Second,
nerdy?
Dewey.
Close enough.
Dewey.
If your friends are nerdy and you are nerdy too, I want to talk to you. Friends talking nerdy.
With the sounds of banjos playing outside, welcome to Friends Talking Nerdy. This is Tim the Nerd, and seated next to me we have Professor Aubrey. And this week, because of the summer solstice finally hitting as we record this, we are going to be talking about some of our favorite memorable moments outside.
Kind of a little more directed than that, I think.
How so?
Just, favorite times outside.
Yeah, that we were involved in, yeah, because it's not something as just esoteric as, on one May afternoon in 1993, I liked the weather.
Right. See, that's what it seems to me, like very specific.
Yeah, it's moments that were special to us that we took part in an outdoor setting.
Okay.
Damn right. You had something completely different?
I was thinking it was more like outside entertainment.
Well, I get your point. Most of my choices do have the outside entertainment as well, but I know I have one choice to where there was entertainment happening, but it was much more on a one-to-one basis. And, that'll make sense once I get to that particular one. And I already told you that because I think you will have some stories to maybe share too about that particular one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You totally forgot which one I put down on my list.
Which one was it?
No, we'll find out.
Okay, I want to keep everybody in suspense.
I know. Suspense for our friends at home. Mm-hmm. But we have dived deep into our memory banks to come up with this list. And what Professor Aubrey here is going to do is tell us her first memorable outdoor event. Let's hear it.
Okay, this is not my first memorable outdoor event, like the first one I experienced in my life.
It's the first one you were bringing up.
It's the first one I'm going to talk about tonight, right? Yes, okay. Back in the 90s, I went to Lilith Fair, and it was the first outdoor concert and music festival that featured only female solo artists or women solo artists and woman-led bands. And it was fucking rad. There was lots of booths doing lots of, pro-feminist, woman-centric stuff, moon lodges, whatnot.
Kegel sizers? No.
But, one of the reason it was one of my favorite outdoor events was it was part of a big road trip. And it was a road trip from Tennessee to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and back.
Mm-hmm. So you passed your Grand Rapids.
Must have. I mean, we went up
if you were
to the Mackinac Bridge.
Yeah, if you were taking the interstate up north, then it would be, because like Lansing, if you're in Lansing, which is essentially the center of the lower part of the state, everybody in Michigan does this. If you're in Lansing, Grand Rapids would be on the left, like right below the pinky finger, and Detroit would be by the thumb. The interstate highway in Grand Rapids and up from Detroit as well, but I don't believe Lansing has one, so you either have to go to Grand Rapids to go up or Detroit to go up.
Yeah, I don't know whether we went to Detroit or what, but we did go to Chicago.
So more than likely you went the Grand Rapids route because Grand Rapids is going to be closer to Chicago than Detroit would be, because it's like approximately like a 3-hour drive to Detroit from Grand Rapids.
I see. Okay, maybe I've been through Grand Rapids then.
Ooh, fancy.
But yeah, so I drove with what was an ex in a van I
No
can't
wonder you don't
remember.
like vans.
I can't remember how many days, but it was too many to be on a road trip in a van with your ex about 2 weeks after you broke up. And we went to Lilith Fair. So we drove first to Chicago, where we went to Lilith Fair, and where we arrived in the middle of the night, luckily, because the interstates there are terrifying, and they have these bizarre islands over the freeway where each side you can pull off the freeway on either side of the road. You go up these stairs, and there's like a bridge over the interstate that has like a Dunkin' Donuts in it or something. It's so weird. The whole experience was very strange. But then ultimately, we ended up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, camping on the banks of Lake Superior and going on amazing canoeing trips. And so the whole thing was very memorable for many, many, many reasons. And it was a little fair.
Now, in the 90s, there weren't many acts on the Lilith Fair tour that I was into. Not to say that there are huge amounts now, but I think I'd have a lot more appreciation of the artists that went there. But I got to ask you, is this the only Lilith Fair you went to? And if so, what would you say were some of your favorite musical acts?
So, yes, this is the only Lilith Fair I've ever been to. And just see, it's not happening anymore. It's been defunct. They tried to bring it back in 2010, and it didn't go well. So it's now officially defunct.
Yeah. I'm not going to see Taylor Swift.
I mean, Tracy Chapman, Paula Cole.
Where have all the cowboys gone?
Sean Colvin, same kind of thing. They were one-hit Americana folk women, mostly. Like Fiona Apple. But a couple of people that you love, Jewel. Sarah McLachlan.
Oh, did she make you cry?
And the Indigo Girls.
Apparently, Sarah McLachlan doesn't even like hearing the Angel song anymore because of the commercial.
I bet she's like, why did I do that?
Yeah. No, I'm sure she liked the money for it. The fact that people still know her name because of it.
Oh, I'm sure she donated that to the ASPCA.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, my favorite would have to be Emmylou Harris.
Ah, nice.
But like they had 2 stages and a lot of stuff going on. Like Case Choice. Do you remember Case Choice? This was one of my very favorite bands. It was just a mediocre rock band, but fronted by a woman and a good band, solid rock and roll.
Right. Yeah, I never heard of them.
Yeah, but most people have never heard of them. It was flash in the pan. They had 15 minutes.
So they're to you what Semisonic is for me. If you listen to anything more than Closing Time, man, they're a great band.
Closing time. No, don't do it. Okay, anyway, that's my first story.
All right.
What you got?
What do I got? Oh, well, we got something that used to occur in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and if I'm not mistaken, it was due to the current person in the White House pulling back some funds that they can no longer do this after 55 years. Grand Rapids, for over 55 years, had what was called the Festival of the Arts. One of the first publicly funded artistic endeavors, to happen in a town like that. We could thank Gerald R. Ford because you may be quizzical, I guess, about his presence in history, but he was one of those politicians that were on the local news every night, so he had a lot of power to be able to bring money and stuff to the Grand Rapids area. And one of the things that he helped to deliver was the Festival of the Arts. And any kid like my age, slightly older and slightly younger, festival meant the end of school, because it always happened when school was over. So you always really enjoyed like going to it no matter what. And it's like there wasn't any sort of thing in the festival that was like mind blowing, but it was just the whole idea of free. It's summer. You're having fun. You're doing this. You're not going to school or anything.
And it's something interesting and different.
Exactly, because what happened during the festival, you would have like local improv groups doing free improv for people. You would have the local Shakespeare company put on a play outside. The symphony would put on free performances at the Ross Hall throughout the week, and like which if you are on the lower economic side, being able to see the symphony for free, take advantage of that. I mean, even if it's in Grand Rapids, Michigan, there's still quality musicians playing some great music.
I mean, that's true. Like in every town, there are great musicians. Like there are just a lot of great musicians and people who go to school to be musicians.
There are. Now, for me, two things really stood out about festival, and when I think of festival, these are the two things that are really, just are seared into my head. One was going to festival right after kindergarten and meeting Darth Vader.
Oh my God.
It was a guy in a Darth Vader outfit, but he was huge. And I shook his hand. He's like, it's Darth Vader, man. So that was cool. And also, too, when I was a kid, like anything, there would be commercials for it promoting it on TV. And what they would always use to promote it in, the early years when I was aware of it was Celebration from Kool and the Gang.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I hear that song, I think of festival. And the locals, we all called it festival. We didn't say we're going to go to the Festival of the Arts, So am I going to see you at festival? Yeah, we'll pick up some elephant ears.
Right. Yeah, like we call the fair the fair.
Exactly. But I definitely am sad to hear that it is no longer a thing. Hopefully.
Let me ask you some questions about this.
Okay.
Because we had something called the Dogwood Arts Festival. It was one of the most popular mid-sized town arts festivals. Music, concerts, food things, cultural things, art.
Yeah.
All the different kinds of art. I wonder if that was inspired by this, because you said this was the first one.
I can't say first definitively, but one of the first, I would say, because of the 55-year time span. So that's the thing I've learned on this show, too. Unless you absolutely know for sure, 100%, Tim, always qualify.
No, is this something you've learned from me?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just an overall responsibility because, like, I listen back to the episodes and I hate when I stumble. And also, too, it's not like I want my sister, like, texting me, like, days afterward because I remember a few episodes back when you brought up the word dork and I said, do you know what the word dork means? And I said it was whale penis. Apparently, it's not. It's an urban legend.
That it's whale penis.
Yeah, so, I was wrong on that, but do you think I want to have my sister like, I'm here to tell you, you're wrong?
You're very lucky that she still talks to you.
It's translated from the Wookiee. Anyway.
You are very lucky.
But do you think I want that? So I have to qualify. To the best of my knowledge, it is one of the first, so it is very much possible that it could have benefited that because right around that time period too, I believe was around the time when the National Endowment for the Arts first became a thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
So then one of the people we can thank is Show Fun.
That's really cool. I am having had a similar festival. I can see why you thought it was fun. We always went and went to concerts and all of that stuff.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those just local. It's like if you lived in Grand Rapids, it was that one event that like almost everybody looked forward to, unless you worked downtown. If
because then it messed up your situation.
Messed up parking and all that because, if you had to work downtown, you had to, park like a mile or two away and then either walk in or take a bus in or something like that. But streets would be closed off. So my hope is that Grand Rapids will find a way to kind of replace it with something else so that, future generations have that whole sense of community, I guess. It's one thing I did like about Grand Rapids is that you did have little things like that in the grand scheme of things, in terms of the bigger picture, the bigger world, didn't mean as much. But if you were from Grand Rapids, it was special.
Yeah, it's a hometown thing. I think the fair, like if you lived in the county seat and you had the fair in your town, probably be
Yeah.
similar kind of thing. Summers, like the fair, elephant ears, concerts of weird people.
Yes, it was an actual elephant. No, no, it wasn't. It was the dessert thing, and I don't believe I have a problem.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a dough product, and we didn't have them, but what we had instead were called funnel cakes. You ever heard of a funnel cake?
Yeah.
You ever have one?
I probably, but off the top of my head, it's not like, you know, ringing any sort of oh my god, a funnel cake.
Okay. Well, you don't like sweets.
Not but yes and no. It's like with musicals. Like I like what I like.
Right.
Going back on another episode.
What kind of candy do you like?
I used to like Three Musketeers, and then I fell in love with those. Then Snickers for a while, but been a while really since I intentionally went and bought myself candy. Yeah,
Cool.
we do have a box of Otter Pops in the freezer. That's about it.
That's true.
Yeah, but anyway, how about you tell us your next choice?
Okay. My next choice is going to have to be the Portland Winter Lights Festival.
We've attended it.
We did attend once.
Our first picture was taken there.
It was at our first picture.
Yeah.
It was, wasn't it? That was a very early date of ours.
Yeah.
It's a good date.
Yeah.
It's a great date. It is because it's a smaller festival in a bigger town. Do you know what I mean? Like the Dogwood Arts Festival was like the biggest thing going on. Like it was a big tourist thing.
Mm.
Brought people into the city, and so it was just like a huge deal.
But it wasn't like taking place at Hanson's Parkway at the end of the block on Main Street.
No.
Generic small town joke there. But anyway.
Oh, gotcha. But anyway, the Portland Winter Lights Festival is a relatively small festival. It reaches a relatively small number of people for something that happens in Portland. Like it doesn't draw as many people as the Blues Festival. It doesn't draw as many people as the Taste of whatever, the big culinary one. Any of those really. It's a smaller deal. At least it used to be when it first started. And it's great. It celebrates in February the returning of the light, hopefully at some point in the very dark days here in Portland in mid-February. And it's just a way to illuminate the night. It started right before the pandemic, like a few years before the pandemic. Then went on hiatus like everything else and came back in 2022.
So you're right.
Oh, actually, they did it in 2021, but they did it as a drive-by, and they did it in like more of a map of the whole city.
Mm.
So you'd pick up the map, and then you'd drive from place to place, but you didn't have to get out of your car. So it was like a pandemic version. But then when it came back for real, it's a walking festival that's on both sides of the Willamette River here in downtown Portland. And it's way cool. There's lots of laser beams, there's dancing, there's people walking around with jellyfish made of light, weird stuff, Portlandy stuff. It's all about illumination.
And I know you were illuminating when you were driving by everybody that was walking to the Light Festival, and then you pulled into the PCC parking lot and like, I'm parking here right across the street. You walk out like, yeah.
I used that parking lot for protests as well. It's a great little parking lot. And I paid $12 a month to use it, so I'm going to use it.
Yes. USA. But no, I agree. When we went there, like on paper, it's like one of those things where you think like, what are you really gonna do? But like, it's all about the community you bring with you to enjoy that, I guess, because you're walking through those lights, you're outside. It's it is winter in Portland, so I've been through much colder. So winter in Portland, even though it can get, you got to prepare, of course, but I've been through a lot, so hardcore winter here is not that bad. But still being out though, it is that type of weather though. You bring somebody with you, you're like, it's like in a horror movie, when you're just impelled to just have the other person close to you, and that's great.
Yeah. Good way of keeping it warm.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was really fun. I really liked Portland Winter Lights Festival, and I've been for every year for the last few years.
Well, all right. Good memory there.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, how about I go on to my next memory?
Yeah, tell us.
All right. This happened at Lamar Park in Wyoming, Michigan, which is a suburb of Grand Rapids. It happened on August 5th, 1995. It was a free concert that the local radio station WGRD, I don't know if they're still on the air, if they changed their call sign or what, put on for the community because they switched formats from pop to alternative.
Mm.
So completely different audiences. And it was called It, being smart. Smart asses. We're going to call it It. Some marketing guy thought that would, be amazing.
That makes no sense.
Exactly.
I don't even get like what the potential point was.
Because it's It.
It's it.
Yes.
It's it.
Something.
It's it. It is it.
Yes.
It's it. It is it. Isn't there like a hardcore song like that? That's like a Living Color song?
No.
Fishbone?
No. Faith No More, I think.
Oh, Faith No More.
Yeah. Hey, I get what you're saying, man. Okay. I get it. You lost me for a moment there, but
You know what I'm talking about now.
I do. Yeah, we're there, people. Anyway, this concert had a few bands that were there, and about halfway through, according to the press release I found, yeah, the whole event, the parking lot opened at 10:30. The show started at about 1. No, it started a little earlier than that, but at about 1 o'clock, this one artist came on stage. There was a band or two that played before her. She came on stage with just her acoustic guitar, and for long-time listeners of the show, yes, I've told this story before. But she started playing, and I thought it was a pretty good set. I wasn't like bowled over like this is the most amazing musician I have ever heard.
And then it turned out she was in Lilith Fair.
Spoilers.
No, I was just saying, like, it's every woman musician at that time went to Lilith Fair.
I mean, it's true. We'll get there, and I'll tell you who. But when you showed up to this concert, they were giving out like posters, and the posters made it look like a stupid version of like a psychedelic concert poster from the 60s.
Mm.
And so this artist, after her set, was signing autographs. I was the last one in line. She got her autograph, and I thought, hey, cool. And, sat around and watched the rest of the bands. The band that closed the show in 1995 was the Goo Goo Dolls.
Whoa.
Yes. This is...
Goo Goos.
Yeah, this is before their big hit, Iris, on the City of Angels soundtrack.
Yeah,
don't go forever to something you don't think you would understand. You know that one?
Yeah.
If you heard it, you'd be like, oh, stop it, I know it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows the Goo Goo Dolls in a way that, like, I don't know. It's sort of like I know Katy Perry. Like, I know she exists, I know she's a pop singer, but I couldn't pick her out in a musical lineup.
Yeah, like their public persona for globally is sacred. But what's funny was at 95, the very first thing that happens is the bass player runs up to the microphone and goes, are you ready to fucking rock? It's the Goo Goo Dolls. So they play their set. But anyway, I got the autograph. I go home 3 weeks later. and I see this poster with the singer who wrote the autograph, and then I thought, what is she gonna do in her career? Ripped it up, threw it away. That was Jewel.
That's right, Jewel. This is
Yes.
a very sad story. It's a defining story in your life, really.
Yeah, like the day that I heard the iPad was coming out and thought, who the hell's going to want to buy one of those?
Yeah.
And they got a computer.
Right. There were lots of people like you who did not get the iPad,
Yeah,
but it turned out it was the thing, man. People who are into iPads are into iPads.
exactly,
And you
exactly.
have an iPad.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
looking
holding
at
it
it
right now. Yes, with the press clipping from the It concert.
Hey.
But this was the first concert I attended of music that was contemporary to me. Let's put it that way, because thanks to the Festival of the Arts, you heard like local musicians or the symphony or something like that, which is cool and all. But this is like stuff that, even though none of the bands, I think Jewel, the album that she hit it big on, was released at this time, but the single that you were mocking the other day, that had her go big had not been released yet. And like with the Goo Goo Dolls, like I mentioned, they were like a year or two away from the Iris song taking off. So it was kind of cool, even though I'm not a huge fan, or even I wouldn't even consider myself a fan of these bands. It was still cool to kind of see them before they hit it big.
Yeah, that is fun. I saw Ani Franco in a very small club in Knoxville, Tennessee in 1993, maybe?
Yeah,
94? 95? Something in there.
yeah, and I've not been one to go to clubs to listen to music at any point in my life. So, unfortunately, I don't have stories like that. But like, I think of that club we went to in Seattle where we poked in and poked out, real quickly, to where Nirvana played their first Seattle show, and that was not the biggest place in the world.
No,
Like maybe 200 people could fit in there.
it was like a restaurant.
Like a bar. I'm sure they serve bar food, yeah, so burgers or stuff like that. And then they had the dance floor on the stage.
Yeah.
But anyway, my first big concert experience, and it was outside in a park. And, because of that, too, I did experience a little bit of rain when the Goo Goo Dolls played. And I think that was probably the ghost of rock gods past. Like, why are they listening to this?
No, I get you. I get you. Well, that's exciting. Exciting concert there.
hmm So, what is your next story here?
Well, the next three are contemporary things that have become really important in my life that all take place outside. And I guess the first I'll talk about is the first one I ever went to, which was Soak. And I've talked about Soak on the show before, so I don't need to talk about it again. But I just say it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been.
Well, think about it this way, though, too. For we may have new friends to the show that have not listened to episodes in the past. So I'm not saying go into the full story, but what is a short little explanation of what Soak is?
Okay. It is like the local Burning Man. You have any idea what Burning Man is? It's just a giant festival where people come together and create art and live according to different rules than we live under in our society. It's art, it's mutual aid, it's sharing, there's no money, everything is gifting. It's a gifting economy. There's no money all weekend except for buying ice and other cool stuff. And then the point of it is to burn something down. Two things. One, what we call the major burnable structure, because we're not allowed to call it an effigy. So it's called,
Trademark.
I know, right? It's called a major burnable structure, or MBS.
Rolls off the tongue.
hmm Doesn't make you seem geeky at all when you start talking about it, right? Like, hey, did you see the MBS? Do you see the MBS burn, man? But anyway, they
Sounds like some Mormon go together, but anyway.
yeah, I mean it's a niche. It's a niche market for sure. But anyway, it's held in Eastern Oregon, just south of Mount Hood, at a place called Tide Valley on somebody's ranch on private land. And it is a beautiful little valley of the White River, and has escarpments and cliffs and great bowls of fields. Just a gorgeous place.
All right.
And it was the first time I'd ever camped out for a week. It was the first time I'd ever gone to a festival and like gone to nothing but a Porto for a bathroom for a week.
It was 2021, right?
22.
Yeah. So I remember you going in.
Yeah. So it was like getting to know what it's like to live in the woods, like for a while. And yeah, it was really fun.
Would you describe it like a hipster apocalypse? I'm kidding.
I mean, it's a different thing than hippies, but it's similar to hippies. There is this like thought that we could live under different principles, and if we did, the world would be a better place, kind of vibe.
Yeah.
But it's not trying to proselytize that to the rest of the world. In fact, it is kind of it's got a high barrier to entry. Like it's hard to be like, I'm going to become a burner and just completely on your own figure out the world of Burning Man and regional burning and all the different stuff.
Sounds like becoming a Catholic.
It does, doesn't it?
Gotta learn the catechism.
Yeah.
Know the ways of the burn. Father, the Son, the Holy Burn.
If you guys were here, you would see that Tim is making the sign of the cross.
Yes.
From your Catholic school days.
I never went to Catholic school. I had an aunt who was Catholic. So I know some of the basics,
Oh, well. Anywho.
Well, all right. Glad you enjoyed that. How about I dive into my next choice?
That sounds good.
All right. This is a story that I have mentioned on the show before, but I think it's interesting enough to bring it up again, and it's been a long while since I brought it up anyway, so not a recent story here, but 1988 in the world of professional wrestling on the USA Network, because the competition to the World Wrestling Federation was holding a pay-per-view called the Bunkhouse Stampede. Yeah. Dusty Rhodes ended up winning that match, and he was the booker at the time, so he created the whole concept. Vince McMahon wanted to counter program, and what he ended up doing was counter programming with an event that was shown on the USA Network called the Royal Rumble. That was the birth of the yearly classic, one of the matches that no matter how good or how bad the business is doing, the Royal Rumble match itself is still going to be fun because it's 30 guys, starts out with 2 guys in the ring, and then after a minute and a half, another person comes out until all 30 are in the ring, and then you win by throwing everybody else out over the top rope. So it's like constant stories that are happening throughout because, it's unlike a traditional battle royal where everybody's in the ring at the same time. Everybody's coming in staggered, so people are getting eliminated along the way as well. So interesting stuff, and I'm sitting there watching it as an 11-year-old at the time, about to turn 12 that September, and I'm thinking in 5th grade, you know what? If they can do that on TV, I can do that at school. So I decided to set up the Potter's House Royal Rumble in 1998. This is late January, early February at this point. Once I got everything organized, and I handmade these contracts because in the world of professional wrestling, if you're going to be in a match, you got to sign a contract that you're going to be in it. So 5th grade me, and you as a lawyer, I'm sure would have been totally proud, came up with contracts that each person that was going to participate ended up signing. And we made the date. It was going to be during recess on some particular day. I went out there, everybody's waiting. I make a square in the snow. because that had to be the ring. I couldn't build a ring or anything like that. And then I was going to be a timekeeper and, told everybody the rules. And then everybody goes, okay, wink. And then I said, okay, these two start out. But then everybody decided they were going to get in the ring and start going at it. And they were going at it like having fun at it. By going at it, I'm not saying everybody was like throwing down and throwing real punches or hurting each other or anything like that. Everybody's just goofing off, but it was just like a group of young boys all goofing off in one small area.
Right, pinned in.
Yes.
Like a pin of prepubescent boys.
Yeah, it's just looking like they're fighting each other. And my friend's brother actually pulled me in and gave me what is called a Boston crab, where he shoved me on the ground, and I'm like, the Boston crab is the person the move is being executed on is like lying on the ground, and then the other person will sit on their lower lumbar and then the bottom of their back, and then pull their legs up. And it's kind of a submission move, and that's what my friend's brother ended up doing to me. And out of nowhere, you hear a couple of teachers run up like, "Stop it! Stop it! Stop!" And then the teachers got it all dispersed, and it was funny. It was my sister's teacher, Miss Leeds, this woman who was born in Canada, but ended up marrying a guy from the U.S. and became a citizen while she was my sister's teacher. Ended up going to two guys that were the bullies of the school. And like, why were you doing this? Someone could have got hurt, blah, 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 that whole thing. And I'm off to the side, kind of like slinking away. And then they go, we didn't do it, Tim did it. And then the teacher turned and looked at me, turned her head, said, don't do that again, and then walked away. And that was the first and the last Potter's House Royal Rumble, and it happened in the middle of winter in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah, nice. I love it. I love that story. It's a great one.
Yes. Yes, young boys being foolish, and nobody got hurt, so you can all look at
Was it painful?
It wasn't. It was just more annoying than anything because there are some wrestling maneuvers that can be done, like the Boston Crab, that are annoying because if the person has a cinched in right, you can't really escape. And I wasn't able to escape. Just like, stop it, man! I'm not supposed. I'm supposed to be the ref, man.
I'm the ref, man. I'm the ref.
Yeah, I'm supposed to take a fall and not see something. Come on.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
I'd love to have seen that.
Oh no, you would have been like, ew, he's got cooties. I don't want to talk to him ever.
We used to get married at that age.
Oh,
Elementary school marriage.
yeah, it never happened to me.
But it was happening in your school, I bet.
Oh, I'm sure the more popular kids, but not me. What are you gonna marry, Tim? No, shut up.
Well,
Anyway,
anywho.
how about you go on to your next choice?
Okay, my next choice is going to be the place I'm going this week, the Oregon Country Fair. This is the place where I went by myself and lived in the woods. Now, granted, I think soak is more difficult because you have to bring your own water and you have to do your own gray water. Like, you can't just throw water on the ground. You have to process it. You have to keep it and put it in big jugs, basically, for treatment. At the Oregon Country Fair, there's like a place that you go and eat communal meals where somebody cooks them for you and does the dishes. And you can go take a really fun outdoor shower. Sometimes the sauna is open and it's free. It's all free. Everything is free. The food is free. Because you're working there. And every day that you work there, you get to eat in the main camp kitchen. Anyway, also something about the fair is that the fair site is a really interesting piece of property, and the land is river bottom, the Long Tom River, and the river still is a wild river, and so it floods every year. And this is bottomland that floods every year. And so if you've ever been to the Oregon Country Fair, it's a giant art, craft, food, music, performance festival. It's full of stages and booths, craft booths, and restaurants. Like, it's full of like a lot of infrastructure, like restaurants operating, like there's water, etc. That is built every year anew after the flooding. So there's this period of time when you can get on the land to work on it, and then a part of the year that you can't. And it has archaeological sites demonstrating that people have been eating camas root there for 4,000 years.
Okay.
And so it was an important gathering place because had a lot of camas, still does have a lot of camas, which is a traditional food here in the Northwest. Yeah, so it's just a beautiful place to be. It's got a lot of spirit. It's got really great trees, and it's full of hippies. So what else could you want?
Deodorant? No, kidding. No, I know each and every year you go, you described it as type 2 fun, like the type of fun that when you're going through it, you're like, oh God, I can't wait for it to be over. But then by the time it's over, you're like, I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Like, you have experiences that you couldn't have without the discomfort.
Exactly. Well, we will have more to say about that later after we wrap up our list, because as you hinted at, you are going to be going again.
That's right. In a few days, I'll be going again to the fair, and sure to have a good time. I was there last weekend and wished I could have stayed all week like I did last year, but I needed to come back and do some work, and it just was nice to come back for a few days, so that's what I did.
Yes, and as we record this, by the time it's released, you will probably be done with the fair, so you'll probably have plenty of stories to say a couple of months from now as we record this. So come September, we'll hear about the Oregon
Country Fair. Nice. Sounds good.
All right. Well, how about I go on to my next choice?
Yes.
All right. I wanted to include something that didn't necessarily involve having thousands of other people along with you as well. I wanted to talk about a fun, important moment experience that I experienced with somebody special, one Professor Aubrey, and it was at Breitenbush Hot Springs. Yes, we actually made that trip down there, and like any trip, I think it was one of those type 2 trips as well. I mean, there were bumps in the road that we were both like, oh my God, type of deal. But I think the overall experience that we had was amazing. But like the thing I remember the most was I guess there's like this whole path of like these saunas, these outdoor hot springs you can, choose to attend to if you wish. And we chose these ones that were like huge bathtubs just out in the middle of nature. So we, start the bathtub and we're, both like out in nature and everybody's, potentially expecting it, but we're the only ones out there. So we're like, you know what? We're gonna get naked. So
It's totally allowed there. Most people are naked.
Yes. So I just wanted to say naked because if my sister's listening, she'll be like, ew. So my penis was out. Anyway, so we get into the tub. And we're just sitting there soaking, enjoying it, and then out of nowhere, these 2 deer just casually walk by. And I'm like, oh man, a deer, hey deer, hey deer. And like one deer turns to the other, like a husband turning to his wife, like, let's move along, dear. Civilized.
Look at that monkey.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. They make too much noise. Look at them splashing in the water and not drinking it. Who sits in their drinking water? But that moment and just kind of being outdoors again, because that was like, I think the first time I've been to like a camp setting since camp as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
So being out and exploring that was fun. And sucked that there was a forest fire that was happening near the camp at the same time, so we did have to evacuate. I believe just the next day.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just only one day there, but um, overall, just one of those great experiences. Again, a type 2 experience. There were bumps that, we experienced along the way that you're like, yeah, but by the time you're out of it, you're like, oh, I missed it. I remember when we did this.
Yeah, and our lodging on that trip was a tent.
Yes.
Yeah, and you hadn't slept in a tent, as you say, since you were a kid. I obviously had. I was the more knowledgeable of the two of us, and I'm not that knowledgeable, so
Well, your knowledge.
we were at risk.
Yeah, especially with the fires. I don't know. I mean, but me, I was like halfway expecting like bears to show up too.
Yeah.
I think weren't there reports of a bear in the area?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
But you did it.
no, we didn't see the bear, but
No, but I'm saying you went there and did that.
yeah,
Even though it was kind of freaky for you.
in a lot of ways, yeah, definitely out of what is my normal comfort zone, but an experience I wouldn't trade for anything. Love being out there. And the hot water too. Like, come on, people! If you have not had the time to even just enjoy a hot soaking tub, what is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm. But a hot spring outside, and I like going to the undeveloped ones. So that's Breitenbush is developed, and there's a lot of hot water there. There's a lot of bubbling up hot water there. So there's lots of different areas, and it's big, and it's commercial, like you pay for lodging, etc.
Yes.
But what's really cool is to go to one of the unimproved ones. It's just sort of out in the middle of nowhere. A pond full of really hot water.
Well, okay then.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Maybe we'll have to do that one of these days. Have another part 2
Part
of the
2.
outdoor adventures.
Yeah.
Well, okay. How about you wrap up your list?
Okay, so the last thing on my list is the big one. Burning Man.
And here, I thought you weren't going to talk about that. My goodness.
My goodness, of course you didn't think.
My.
Of course, you would never think I would talk about Burning Man. But it's the most difficult environment I have ever existed in.
And you've been married.
That's right. And I've actually, but not counting my marriage,
Okay.
the most difficult except for my marriage. But yeah, it's alkaline flat desert in the middle of nowhere in Nevada. There are dust storms, like blinding dust storms. Like you have to cover your eyes and cover your mouth and nose and cover as much of your skin as possible because you're being pelted by little particles of dust. Sometimes it rains and then it all becomes very slippery and you cannot move around in it by yourself or in a car. It's hot. Basically all the things you don't want in a vacation.
And Elon Musk can show up at any time.
Yeah, Elon Musk probably flies in or has at least in the past flown in to the airport at Burning Man. And the people I hang out with are the people who work at the airport.
Yeah.
And they get to meet all of the weirdo celebrities that come to Burning Man.
We're going to go roughing it. We're just bringing our Learjet.
Yeah, no, I mean, they just pop in for a day and, have their Burning Man experience and then leave.
Now, I remember the year that you did have the rainstorm, or rainstorm's probably not the best word, but for that particular area, it might as well have been, because...
It was a rainstorm.
Yeah, because of the shenanigans that happened because of that. Like Chris Rock and another celebrity having to flee by getting other people to take them, and I was expecting you to be like on top of one of the structures with like your shirt off, waving it like. Oh,
did you really?
I was like.
Did you hear from me during that period?
No.
Really?
Yeah, so I figured you would be fine because, to your point, when you do prepare for camping, you're not like me, like, I'll bring a couple of t-shirts and we'll be cool.
Right.
You have an entire, like, 7-page checklist to go through. single spaced, and you check everything off that you bring there. So I knew you were prepared, and also to like you'd even talked about it before. The importance of not fleeing at the first sign of any sort of particular issues, because when you have that many people there, people's first instinct may be to leave, but if 75% of them leave at the same time, think of how choked up and clogged that will make the roads.
When the road is impassable, in particular,
Yeah,
like you couldn't get anywhere. Like so when we were finally leaving, all along the playa, which is what this flat alkaline desert is called, all across it were cars and trucks that had tried to get away and got stymied. And there's a guy called Captain Hook who is a tow truck driver for Burning Man. And he was being called to take all of these cars back. So there's this tow truck, like old school tow truck with like a hook on the back of it, with Captain Hook in it, driving really fast across the desert to a car, hooking it up to the towing thing, and then towing it back to the city. And there was one particular Prius. There was at the lowest elevation of the desert, so it was a ditch. They tried to drive over the ditch in the rain and the mud with their Prius. And so the Prius got lodged between the two banks of the ditch and was just sitting there teetering as we drove by. It was a testament to human stupidity.
yeah, I can imagine the driver is like, we could just think that this car is like the General Lee, but with a conscience and not racist. Here we go! Thunk.
No, I think it was more like,
They're idiots.
I don't know why they thought they'd be able to get out with their Prius. Just driving through the desert. They weren't even on the gate road. I mean, I suppose they thought that on the gate road it would be all dusty, which it was. And so they might have a better chance on the playa. But man, people panicked. But I did not panic. I hung out in my tent while it was raining, and it was raining cats and dogs for hours. So it was definitely a big storm event, and it was bizarre.
Yeah. Well, you survived. You came back on time at the time you thought you would come back. You weren't delayed.
That's right.
Because you played it smart.
Yeah, because we never planned to leave that early.
Yes. And this year, of course, you will be going shortly after we see Cyndi Lauper in concert.
That's right. I think it's the next week.
Yeah. So we'll have more stories to hear about Burning Man on the show here in the future.
That's right.
All right. Well, how about I wrap up my list?
Sounds great.
Well, all right. This event happened on June 17th, 1990. Happened in Detroit, Michigan. And it was a time that I attended the baseball game between the Detroit Tigers and the California Angels.
Mm.
And at the old Tiger Stadium, which is mostly now gone. I believe it's just gone. Even though they do have a baseball field in the same exact spot where it originally was, the original Tiger Stadium is long been demolished. You know, understandable, I guess, but being able to share along in some ways it has some comparisons to wrestling in the fact that this is a quote unquote real sporting event that is happening. It's not, the results are not predetermined. They're going for it, and if you're a fan of the team, you're there to cheer it on, and having that communal stuff happening outside is definitely cool. In the game, this is the year that Cecil Fielder hit over 50 home runs, which was the first time in like many years that a player in baseball had hit over 50 home runs, and it was basically the start of the home run craze in the 90s, because I believe they had some like rule changes in terms of how they played the game. Plus, the players could have different types of bats and steroids, at that particular time. But seeing that was cool. But this is the building to where Lou Gehrig ended up pulling himself out of the game in 1939. The Yankees were supposed to face off against the Detroit Tigers, but Lou Gehrig pulled himself out of the game, and that ended his consecutive game streak at 2,130 games. The reason he pulled himself out of the game was that he came down with an illness that was ultimately named after him, Lou Gehrig's disease.
Mm-hmm.
But that bit of history happened there. Ty Cobb, even though Ty Cobb was a horrible, racist human being, in terms of what he did in baseball, like his numbers are still pretty high up there in terms of the absolute best to ever play the game today. So that was cool. Babe Ruth himself was in that building and hit what is considered, I believe, to this day, the longest verified home run in Major League Baseball history at 575 feet.
Mm.
So that was cool, and then of course, if you take like the Tigers into effect, I, like many people in Michigan, were excited in 1984 when the Detroit Tigers won the World Series, which happened at Tiger Stadium.
Nice.
So all that history that happened there was cool. It would have been nice if they won. They didn't win. The California Angels ended up winning that game 7-3. And the reason it was 7-3 was that in the fifth inning, Lance Parrish, the catcher for the California Angels, who used to be on the Detroit Tigers and was a part of the 1984 World Series winning team, ended up hitting a grand slam home run. And that ball came into the next seating aisle to where I was sitting. And so the cool part was, like, at the end of the night and the next day, when I went home, turned on ESPN, I could see myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yes, so June 17th, 1990 was my...
That was my sister's birthday.
Yeah.
That was her 18th birthday.
Well, all right. She's born in 72?
Yeah.
We just out there. Sorry. Yeah, she don't listen. Anyway. But ultimately, that was cool. Like, one thing I've tried to take advantage of the older I've gotten is those experiences that you can have in historic places like that. While history was not made on the day that I was there, history was made there. And being able to say that I was a part of that for a very, very brief, small, blink and miss it moment is definitely awesome, especially for a place that is now gone. In 1999 it closed down, and in the 2000 season, that's when Comerica Park opened up.
Wow.
In Detroit, the quote-unquote modern place. And overall, obviously better amenities, because I remember Tiger Stadium seeming pretty run down when I went there in 1990, but I would not have traded that experience in the world just because of all the history that happened there.
Yeah, and you really connect with places where things happen.
Exactly. I mean, in a way, it's like you can kind of feel the history there. Like when we went to Veretta Park in Seattle. That's a history that I wish never happened. For people that don't know, that's the park next door to Kurt Cobain's last home. But, when you are there, it's like you do feel that history. And it was the same way at Tiger Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So, have you ever been to a Major League Baseball game?
If I have, I don't remember.
And knowing you probably had zero interest anyway, so you were probably reading the book.
Yeah. I don't like sports.
Yeah. Perfect sports ball time. Well, that wrapped up my list there. So great reminiscing about outdoor events. But as you alluded to, as we record this, you are a few days away from going to the Oregon Country Fair yet again.
That's right. I am. I'm very excited about it. And I have a new friend coming. I mean, a friend who's newly coming to the fair. So this is very exciting for me because I get to show this person around and help them figure out what's going on. And just like was done for me, because again, the barrier to entry on some of these things is very high. And so I feel this like once I have like gotten access to want to share it with other people, so it's fun for me that that my friend is coming.
Nice. Nice. Are you looking forward to anything in particular? Is Ricky Skaggs going to be there this year playing up with the stations?
No, I don't think Ricky Skaggs has ever been to the Oregon Country Fair.
Okay.
The Grateful Dead played there, but not Ricky Skaggs.
Okay. I would see him.
I don't really, I'm about being on the land and the food.
Yeah. You're not a concert lady at an event like that?
I mean, I like to hear music, but I don't plan my day around seeing any particular people. So I don't even really know who's going to be.
So Ricky Skaggs could be there and you don't know.
It's not his audience.
Okay.
It's just not his audience.
Yeah. You're like, he's too hardcore for Branson, Tim.
No, but he belongs in the South, not in the Pacific Northwest.
REO Speedwagon? Okay, anyway.
No, it's not. It's not a county fair. It's the Oregon Country Fair. Don't lead people astray. There's actually a great Oregon Art Beats episode from Oregon Public Broadcasting about the Oregon Country Fair. So if you're interested in learning more about the Oregon Country Fair, you can just Google Oregon Art Beat, Oregon Country Fair, and I'm sure that you can find it.
You can listen to a better podcast.
It's not a podcast, it's a broadcast, man.
They're professionals.
What? I mean, what do I have to add?
Well, but sounds like you are definitely looking forward to communing with friends.
Yes.
Anything else in particular you're looking forward to?
Outdoor showers and saunas. Fudge. There has been in the past a particularly good fudge cart, and that cart was not there last year. So I tried the fudge from the other fudge booth, and it was horrible. So I need I need that fudge cart. If you're out there, come on back and sell me some fudge.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to dancing in the dance pavilion to electronic dance music, and going to the giant rocking horse and rocking on it.
Do they have the same no pictures mentality that Burning Man does, or
No.
you'd be taking lots of pictures?
You can take lots of pictures. My mentality around picture taking of things, though, is like the Burning Man one, which is that if I'm taking a picture of it, I'm not actually enjoying being in the moment with it. I like portraits of like groups of people, like memory kind of photos, not like, hey, look at this cool person dressed up in stilts or whatever it is that I might be taking a picture of.
But I do think, though, that mentality doesn't take into account the people that do get joy from creating art by film. But you are not one of those people, no. So that's why you don't.
Well, I
fall in
think
that
that's
category.
different. I think that's different than just, I'm not an artist. I'm not intending to make art. I'm just taking pictures of things that I think are cool. I don't know. I just think that with the digital photo age, I have disconnected more and more from taking photos because there are just so many photos. I have so many photos. And I don't look at them. What are they there for?
No, I get that. And I mean, that's why I've never been one for like autographs either.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
I don't have any kind of paraphernalia.
Yeah, because yeah, obviously with my jewel story, I just rip it up and what's that William Shatner ever done? Fuck him,
He'll never be famous.
Yeah, Rocket Man this. I get that, but more than anything, I am quite happy that you're going to be experiencing that again, and I hope you have a lot of fun. And when you get back, I hope you have a lot of stories to tell.
I'm sure I will.
All right, anything else you want to say about the outside now that the banjos have died down?
No, there were some banjos this evening. There was some entertainment going on in the corner that involved some banjos. It was lovely, really.
Yeah, I guess. bless their hearts. And
It's fun to be in the city and live in the city so that you have to listen to the bar next door, but have them playing bluegrass.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely better than the "Someday, baby, you'll accompany me." That guy, who did
Yeah, but he just walks around with the
the
tape playing.
playing karaoke. No, not even karaoke. The actual
It's just
song,
the actual song,
and he's singing over it. It's
with
great.
a handheld microphone.
Yeah, hey baby.
So just to be clear, he's not being employed by any restaurant or bar. He's just walking up and down the street, providing that service for the community.
Yeah, Portland people, you know, where stalkers are celebrated as weird. Yeah, because it did come off as like him stalking like somebody. You can imagine like the cop showing up, like, "You need to leave, sir." But anyway.
Yeah. Well, welcome to our lives, people.
Yeah, Portland. We're not what Fox News says. So anything else you want to say to our friends at home before we wrap up?
Nope.
All right. Each Monday, we'll have something in this podcast space to entertain your ear holes. Until we meet again, we bid you adieu.
So long.
Fuck you, Jewel. For being famous, jerk. Subscribe to Friends Talking Nerdy
On YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Goodbye, darling.